Thank you. Sounds like a sad life story, doesn't it? Brought up within a company. I actually had a father and a mother also. I was away from the company for 12 years within IKEA. It's not being, you don't leave the company. It's more like you're on external education. That's what we call it. So learning from others, I think that's important. So, great to be here in Switzerland. Great to meet you all, guys. Talking to people who are really interested in design. You don't do that every day. I'm here to try to tell the story about democratic design, why we do it, and a little bit how we do it. Also share some news with you guys also, like for the first time in the world. It's always nice to do that. That's one more thing. Okay, but that was a good one, isn't it? A good start. Do we have some technicians here, maybe? Running like crazy. Sorry. It's going the right, but now you've started it from the backwards. Yeah, okay, you'll see the total presentation before I talk about it. It's a new one, isn't it? Everything is going to be like repeated. It's a dream start. It's a good thing that you're not like the nervous kind. Okay. Is it okay now? Or do you want to be on stage together with me? Like that? But you said that I have plenty of time, so I'm not stressing. Okay, it all starts with curiosity. I'm a really curious person myself. So I hope that you're curious about democratic design today and how it happens. We talk about design, and you're part of the design crowd, a lot of you. And I think design is one of the most misinterpreted words out there, actually. Most people, when they talk about design, they mean like the shape of things, but it's so much bigger. It's, to us, it's not about making things at all. It's how we make things better. That's what we use design for within IKEA, and that's important for us, to make things better. Because if you look upon it, if I go out anywhere in the world, or just look upon my own home, factories around us, even going to Switzerland. I was on home visits yesterday, and that was nice. There's so many things in everyday life that could become so much better. Both in homes, but also in the way that we do stuff. That's a big, big journey for us. So the big why then, for IKEA, why do we do it? We're a vision-driven company. Of course, we want to do business, but we do business by focusing on our vision. And our vision, you've heard it before, but it's actually true. People come to IKEA to work for IKEA because we believe in this, to create a better everyday life for the many people. And here you could see, democratic design and our vision goes hand in hand. It's about making things better. How do we do it? I would say that how is very much about who we are, how we think, why you work at IKEA. That's important. That makes us do it in a different way. How do we make it happen into products then? What's the secret sauce to this? Why are we here today? If we would have been Coca-Cola, then this would have been a secret, wouldn't it? The thing that you make money on. But we really need to share this, because we think that we have come up with a really, really good tool that could be used by others, not just by IKEA. So that's the very idea of this thing that we do here today, to share our knowledge around this and this tool about democratic design. So if you take a product then, I don't know if you know about this one. It was introduced last year, 365 Plus. It's a carafe for water or wine. It's one of the huge successes of the year. We changed something, we throw something out of the range. Instead we did this because we wanted to make it better. So what's better about it? We have 5 elements of democratic design. The first one is form. Pretty obvious when you work with design. I don't know what you say. Now it's a little bit dirty, but I think it's lovely when you look upon it. That's what we want to achieve with everything we do. We want to make the world a little bit of a more beautiful place. Then, of course, form, if you're a Scandinavian, always follows function. So what's good about this one then? From a functional point of view, it took us 50 samples to do this right. And it looked very strange from the beginning. We took in, life at home knowledge from different parts of the world. We saw that most people, there's so many different carafes out there with, I would say, the same kind of function. But the thing that annoyed people a lot around carafes was it's really hard to wash them, to get into the neck of the carafe if you do it by hand. And it's almost impossible to put it into a dishwasher. So the everyday dream of people, function-wise, was actually to get a carafe which you could put in the dishwasher upside down and get it all clean through just spraying water inside of it. So that's why it's this wide angle in it. That's quite smart, but simple. Third one is about quality. Of course, it's about choice of material. This time, we wanted to make things in materials which is good, we know, for health, for the future, working in known materials, actually not plastics within the 365 Plus series, going back to metal and to glassware, and also adding cork. Because we wanted it to be long-lasting, we wanted it to be aging in a beautiful way also. And then cork is one of my favorite materials. We did a series together with Ilse Crawford called Sinnelig around cork when we tried to do something new with cork, actually industrialize it in a completely different way. There is something sad happening to the cork industry, and that is because, doing bottles for the wine industry has changed a lot. You have screw corks, or you have things in plastic instead nowadays. And that you could say, yeah, that's the turn of time, and things should, develop, and that's good. But what's sad about it is that the cork trees, you need to harvest them every 6 years. If you don't harvest the cork, they die. So could we do something about that? So we saw how could we use cork, because there's too much cork in the world right now, in a new way. So putting it in our water carafes and even putting it on top of furniture. Choice of materials with great quality. Sustainability, to have an improving impact on people and the planet. That's what we want to do with everything we do within democratic design. How? Of course, is the choice of production methods, but it's also taking it to the next level right now, and that is to design the things that we do so they're made for a sustainable life. Make people lead more sustainable life. In this case, we think that it's important to go over from buying bottles of water to actually work with tap water much more, to show this off together with water in everything we do, and make people use tap water, because that would be good. And of course, it's produced in a sustainable way too. Then if you have a great product like this, you can see a lot of them, great products out there. But I think that great products and great ideas should be for the many, and that's what the democracy part of democratic design is. And we've learned through the years that the major thresholds for people to both dare to buy great design, but to be able to buy great design, is actually the price level. That's why we go so much for the price, to get the price right from the beginning, because that's the big threshold. So this one we sell for $6.95 here, which is a pretty good price for a thing like this. The 4 different aspects at an accessible price, that's democratic design. Now you're kind of quiet. And it's not one by one in the products. That would have been too easy. It's achieving all 5 in everything we do. That's what's really hard. We actually review our total range once a year to see if we achieve this. We have a strategy which we call love, fix, and exit. Everything that doesn't live up to democratic design, we exit it or we fix it. The things that we love, we keep. That's the idea. And I think you can see a lot of great design out there, and I could argue, you see a lot of good sofas out there, but you can't afford to buy them. I would say that you see a lot of sturdy, really qualitative pieces, but they might be hard to clean, or logistics of bringing them home, not so smart. So there's this thing about easy doesn't do it. You have to be able to dig in to the work every day. A carafe like this, it took us 3 years. This simple item, 3 years to produce it in a good way. Because at IKEA, we're quite big also, so then when we do things, we have to set up the production facilities. We start from the beginning. We do 2,000 new things every year. And everything that is sold from IKEA is designed from scratch. There's nothing bought from the shelf. It's designed from scratch. Sometimes, when we do real big sellers, we actually have to design the factory, not just the thing, to be able to produce it. That's the scale of things, which is pretty interesting. And of course, it's a big responsibility too. So, what's the secret sauce to this then? How do we make it happen? There is actually no secrets at all. Sorry to disappoint you with this. I think the only secret we have is, we come from a place. The capital of IKEA is Älmhult in Småland. Småland is in the midst of nowhere in the country of Sweden, which is the midst of nowhere too. Nobody knows about it. People confuse it from out of Switzerland too, from time to time. This very place of Sweden has always had a scarcity of resources. It's the poorest place of Sweden. And if you come from a place like that and you want to survive, you have to be really innovative and do a lot from less. So I think this upbringing of all of the people where it started, that's what makes this happen with democratic design. That's the thing. It's about who we are, and to keep to that and to stick to our values. It makes you innovative. So it's just about hard work, actually, on every level, on every floor also. Usually when you do design, you talk about design companies, and you go and visit design companies. Then you visit office spaces where they sit and design. We don't have an office. We don't design at offices at IKEA. We design on 3 floors. It's the production. We go out to the factory floors. It's in people's homes. We actually visit people and do the design on site, the ideas on site together with people. And it's in the store floor, in our own stores, to see to how could we cater for better logistics and being smarter on how to sell it at the end of the day so people find the design. That's where we put our design efforts. That's quite different. So, just to take you through it then, we're kind of curious about production. We've always been that. There's so many things that you could solve if you're curious about production, if you're close to production, if you start your ideas close to production. When we design on the factory floor, actually, I have my team traveling the world all the time together with the product developers and technicians. These quite lovely pictures, actually. This is from doing the next PS series. I'm going to tell you a little bit about it later. Or maybe I should do it now. Are you curious? Huh? Yeah? You've heard about the, I guess, since you're so many designers here, you know that the brothers Borolek, they did a share, which was really lovely in 3D knitting. The same thing that you use for Nike shoes. It was really lovely. I really like it, but I can't afford it. we love that technique. So we went to this Nike factory, spoke to them, tried to learn. What's the idea? What's good about it? Of course, we love the technique at IKEA because there is no air in a product like that. And it's less foam also. And still, you could get really, really good comfort inside of it. The only thing with this was that nobody had cracked the code of the logistics. Seems kind of silly to do a thing without any foam and very little material, but it takes a lot of space to send it around the world. So that's where we put our efforts. So in the next PS series that you're going to see during the year, we have actually cracked the code of this. So this is the first flat pack 3D knitted piece of furniture. We have put it together and constructed it in a completely new way. And I think it turned out quite lovely, actually. And that was happening on the production floor. Nowhere else. We couldn't have cracked it in the office. Only close to production and close to those people who really know about the production, which is the factory workers. How we work? I'm always afraid when you work with design and you feel that the process is really linear, that you know from the beginning where you're going to end up. We start here and this is the scope, and then you turn the scope into something which is really, tight, because you don't want to lose out on things at the end. So you want to be smart in the beginning. We're kind of loose there, like loose cannons in the beginning. We start with a lot of people together, and we always start with a session with a lot of ideas. For every item that we do of IKEA, I would say that we start off with like 50 different samples from the beginning. Very, very different from each other. We love working in sampling also. We call this method the fun funnel, because that part is so fun to work with. And you start with crazy many ideas. I would say that most of them are really, really bad. That's part of the design process. To dare to do really bad things and to show them off to others and to dare to talk about them too. This is actually from work that we do together with Pete Heineck and some of our internal designers in Indonesia. They were going there without any drawings whatsoever. We only knew that we wanted to do some new chairs in rattan. And we wanted to construct them in a way so they could be flat pack also for the future. We have tried that so many times before, but maybe once more we should try to do it. And it was actually Mr. Pete himself who solved it at the end. So you're going to see some nice things there. Really nice things. And this fun funnel method is, taking care of the differences of people also. Working not just with the designers in the team, but it's communicators, it's designers, it's product developers, it's technicians, everybody aboard from the beginning for the idea part. Then, of course, we have the office space. I just lied before. But it's not looking like an office. It's a huge open space that we have. We work transparent to each other and to the world, actually, since 3 years now. We start off with project spaces. I think it's 4,000 square meters we have. Each and every of those 2,000 projects that we do, we have there for everybody to see in every stage. Starting off from sketches, the very first ideas just on boards, then developing into the first samples, second samples, final samples. Why? Because we truly believe in the collective brain of people. We don't believe in single geniuses. That was the old ways of design, just one smart person. We think that we have to be more to solve it for the future, and to work together. And then you have to be able to share your ideas and talk to them, talk to different parties. And it's also a great way to get everybody aboard from the beginning. If you want to do something really strange for the future, something that people haven't seen before, it's good to share it early, to dare to share it early, to get people to adapt to it within the company. Otherwise, we will only take like small steps. And we want to take those big steps instead. So, the power of the many. This is our team. Quite a few, isn't it? You said there were 20 designers, and that's true. Then we have some on contract that we work with on projects and so forth. But then we have 70 product development teams that work during the year. 70 teams, specialists on different areas of the home. And this is our place. You know, we have a common space. This is a staircase. There's a story to this staircase, which is very typically IKEA, I would say. When we did this new building, you know, we wanted something in wood. We wanted this big staircase where we could get everybody aboard, and when we want to make speeches, we talk about, you know, we were influenced by TED Talks. We wanted to do IKEA talks, to invite people there to talk about what they do. Then we wanted like a stage, which didn't look like a stage. So we did a really big staircase. But when we were constructing it, we were a little bit out of money because some of the other stuff has become a little bit too expensive. So we wanted to be smart, and we had to take the IKEA route about it. And some of us happened to be in the northern parts of Sweden, where we produce one of our biggest series called Hemnes, which is a series out of pine. And looking on that factory, we actually saw that this is not usual for IKEA, but we saw that there were some scrap in that production. That scrap actually looked really, really beautiful. Could we use that scrap? So the scrap from that production, we made this staircase of. So it's from northern Swedish wood into the staircase, which is throwaway scrap from our own production. I think that's a great IKEA history, actually. Typically us solving it that way. So, that's great, isn't it? No, not. At least it's not enough. We need to do more. We have to be better. It's not just about the factories. We're curious about people too. Going home to people. And yesterday, I had the opportunity to go home to 2 different homes here in Switzerland. I actually do home visits myself. I do about 20-25 home visits all over the world every year, just to get the notion of what's important and what's happening out there, and what are the differences, but even more, what are the similarities in between the countries and different homes. So we visited one family with 4 kids, and a lady with her daughter coming back to her home, adult. So, what are the problems in their lives? This is not a thing for managers either, this thing about doing home visits. It's a thing that everybody does within IKEA. If you work in a store, you do home visits. If you work as a designer, you do home visits. If like a business leader, you do home visits. It's really important to us to be really close to our customers and their needs. So what did I see then? First of all, what do we do? Why do we do it? It's about finding what could we do better? What can we change? Is there ideas for change that we could see immediately in those home visits? And we saw some. I think this is a good starting point for any kind of design. Don't you agree? Sometimes I could see that there is design done without the why. This is the why for IKEA. What do you want to change? If you don't know that, we shouldn't do it. So, opening doors, you know, in kitchens, being everywhere, being a little bit annoying during the time, asking silly questions about life, what's important to them, how does a typical day look like, where do you store your socks, where's your laundry, where do you dry your laundry, why don't you use your balcony when you have so little space? All of those silly questions adds up to things that could turn out into business possibilities because it's needs of people. This very lady, you can see yourself. This is within the kitchen. Lovely pieces, but all of them are single pieces. It's like they were bought on everything on the flea market. And she had a struggle actually with everyday life. She wanted the basic part of her life to function a little bit better. I want to have those basic things in you know, that they're set. I don't want to go out there and have to buy small bits and pieces all the time to solve my life. So this basic need, could we do something about that? Of course, this is not something that we just come up with when you go to Switzerland. This is a very common problem. I showed you 365 Plus before. This year, we're actually introducing a new series also, which is called Vardagen, which is for everyday life. It goes through all of the range. It's a part of an effort that we're doing right now to renew the basic range of IKEA. Why? Because the needs has changed. When we did the basic range, most of this stays within our range for a long time, because it's an investment, and these are the things that we sell the most. Then it's important to us to make it stay within the range, because that's the way how we achieve our prices, is big volumes over time. But now we could see that a lot of those big sellers, they're not really addressing the problems of today. They're addressing the problems of yesterday. So we need to change them for that reason, make them smarter. So this is a big effort you're going to see within IKEA for the years to come, actually, about our basics. Not just kitchenware, it's all over the home. Okay. This is nice. One of the most common problems you see is actually the way to organize your home. But this picture is not about that. We had a good chat about this, and this lady, she thought that, yeah, I have a lot of things, but they're not really stating my own personality. When I bought them, it was for functional reasons. It wasn't really, it wasn't by heart. And she thought that it was looking a little bit too mass-produced also. She wanted to mix it up. That's also a thing that you could see actually happening right now. More and more people want these eclectic homes, which is mixed. You don't want to buy it all at the same time. So IKEA then doing mass production, what could we do there? Could be hard. Short term, we've always been working with arts and craft and handicrafted things within IKEA. But you're going to see more of that for the future. This is actually a collection coming up, which we call Viktig, which is rattan, done by two of our own designers. And it's also Ingrid Roman, who's a glass and ceramist artist from out of Sweden. Then the way that I like to work, I like not doing the obvious thing. I like to force people to do things which they are a little bit uncomfortable with, like standing on stage for myself, for instance. So this ceramist and glass artist, we made her go to Vietnam and to work with craftsmen there in rattan and bamboo. And she came up with so many lovely pieces. Actually also, new ways of using old techniques. This is a technique of rolling bamboo. You've seen boxes of that before. She's incorporated the rolling bamboo together with slices of rattan and made a basket of it in a completely new way. And I think it's lovely. And there's a lovely story to it too, because she's a craftsman from herself from the beginning, since she's a potter. She couldn't speak Vietnamese, of course, but the way that they related around the object, around the craft, made them do this together in a really, really beautiful way. So, craft, it's part of IKEA, always been, it's going to be bigger. Of course, we made her do some lovely glassware also. I think this is nice. This is actually our signum, doing this carafe with a water glass inside of it. Now we have our IKEA version of this. Okay. This is another lovely picture from out of Zurich. Everyday life, slice of life. What can we see here? What's happening? She really liked to tidy up her home. It was important to her. She had a lack of space. Of course, you can see that. But she wanted everything organized. She had her daughter moving in again. She's been out studying without anywhere to live. Then she had to move in again. Became a big problem. Then she had to live in one room where everything happened. She liked to play the trumpet. She liked to work in a sewing machine. She watched TV. And she slept in the same thing. And there is something happening here. It's not just these occasional stuff. How we use our rooms are changing a lot. The way that we use them are not from set rooms anymore. It's much more fluid. It's from out of activities occurring in the same room. And you want to change that, especially with young people. They want to do a lot in the same room. If you look upon or ask young people what's the most important piece of furniture, it's always the bed. The bed is just about everything. They watch TV there because they don't watch TV anymore. They watch on iPads. They do their homework. They eat in the bed. I get really annoyed. I got 2 daughters, like 21 and 22. They never leave bed. And I try to encourage them to get some kind of interest in things, but they never, the bed is the thing. But this fluidity in the home, things happening all over. You eat in your bed, all of those things. Could we address that in a better way? That's actually what the next PS series is going to be all about, that we're introducing. You saw the share before. It's going to be part of that. It's easy to carry home. It's easy when you want to move, because we see this nomadic living happening also. So we want to do lightweight construction that you could move on the tube instead of having a car, because young people of today, they don't get driver's license either. So we have to adapt to that, make things flatter, lighter, and smarter. This is a trolley from out of Thomas Sandell. Here's a new thing. I don't know if you know about them, but there's a team from Australia, but they're actually working in the Netherlands. They're called Truly Truly. There's some of my favorites right now. They're really, really smart about how they design stuff. And they challenged us a lot. So why do you need to do sofas in the same way that you have done sofas for 100 years, the upholstery part? Could we do it differently? Could we do it smarter and simpler? So they did a really cheap, or I shouldn't say cheap maybe, but a low price construction in metal, simple, smart, could actually be used for outdoors also if you want to. And then the upholstery part of this is pillows, because we saw also that a lot of people have a lot of pillows at home. So you could construct your own comfort by attaching pillows with these small straps, and make your own look, your own personality, and your own comfort very, very low-key way. I think that's pretty smart. Another part is this. So what's this then? This is a new name. This is a new product. This is a completely new eureka moment for you all. A pillow. No, it's not. We talked to the outdoor industry and the ones who's doing jackets and so on, and wanted to work in those materials to see if we could get those properties into home furnishing. Then while we were there were so many smart ideas for being outdoors. Could we turn that into an indoor thing? And again, using the same thing for different reasons. So this is not actually a pillow. We call it a quillo, because it's a pillow that you turn into a quilt. A very hands-on approach to things that happen on the factory floor also. That's also part of this collection. There's going to be lots of textiles, because textiles is an easy way of changing your home if you live in a fluid way. Then, all of you here love Scandinavia, don't you? Huh? And Scandinavian food, even more. The sad thing about food is that you don't want to ship it all over the world. So could we, ship the taste of Scandinavia in another way? So for the next PS series, this is the first time that we actually design food for PS. And we've done some flat pack food for you guys. Instead of sending the salmon and the meat and so on, we actually did spice mixes. So you could rub whatever you have at home, like a cucumber or whatever, turn it into a Scandinavian taste with those spice mixes. It's going to be 3 different spice mixes that comes all over the place. I think this is also a way, and this is the first time also that we worked with the 5 different aspects of democratic design doing food. Now we're trying it on architectural also for doing our stores better. Could we make the stores live up, the architecture of the stores live up to the 5 different aspects of democratic design? Seems to work. This is so lovely. This girl, she was so sweet, you know, she's a ballet dancer and she wanted to be on stage all the time. So she was showing off the home. She was actually showing it off much more than the mother and talking about things. And, you know, her dream was her own room. And she had to share a room with her brother. That annoyed her a lot. So one day when her parents came home, the brother and her, they actually made her move into the cupboard. So this is inside of a wardrobe that she had put her bed inside of that and made that really, really cozy. And when I spoke to her, what's important to you here? Yeah, I want this to be a cozy place. It's just mine, and I do a lot of things here. So I wanted to change it a little bit, the moods of the day there. Could I change it throughout the day? Sometimes I want to play music. Sometimes I want to have it, you know, really close. Sometimes I want it to feel big. And she's done a lot of innovation herself there to solve this. But this is about moods. You know, we're quite famous for doing room sets and home furnishings at IKEA. We don't just do things, we also do solutions for people. And solutions to us is home furnishing. But what's the next step of home furnishing? We've been inspired by Spotify and our friends there, the Swedish friends within the music industry. And they're quite good at innovation right now. And talked to them and learned from out of them that how people choose music nowadays is much more from out of moods. What kind of mood am I in? So I'm like in a coffee mood, then I want coffee kind of music. Now I'm in a hangover mood, then I want hangover kind of music. So they made playlists from out of that. And that's actually the things that people use the most. Could we turn that into a way of solving home furnishings for the future from out of IKEA? Could we make things change within the home during the day? You know that we did a thing that we call Home Smart, the charging stations. Was actually pretty successful, and that was taking care of needs of people, of charging your phone and having it besides your bed at night, but still charging it. Now it's the time for the next step of this, and that's connecting things in your home. And today, if you look over there, let's see if it works. We actually have we're introducing connected lights, bulbs. And you could turn them off, on. That's kind of boring, isn't it? You could make them brighter or less bright. But I think this mood thing, you could work with the Kelvin inside also. I've seen some of this before, but it's been quite hard to maneuver it, I would say, when you work with the things, the interface of this. I think that we worked actually together with some of the friends here, and it's Frog designer has been part of this also together with us doing it. We're, of course, doing a remote for people who doesn't like to work through iPhones and others, but there's an app to it too. And this is the very start. Of course, we're going to connect more things, but I think it's an interesting start to work in moods, not just home furnishings. That would be the dream for that girl, I would say. So that was Zurich, learnings from Zurich, some examples. But the biggest learning, every time you do those home visits, there's lots of ideas. But you know what? Last year I was in Delhi doing home visits. I was in Hong Kong. Most of the needs we see are similarities. There's more similarities around the world than differences. And that's actually the business opportunity for IKEA also, to find those similarities. Because then we could go for bigger volumes, and the bigger volumes will make it able for us to do things more accessible. So that's what we're looking for. So that's great, right? Feeling ready now for a coffee or something? Not yet. Because it's not enough. That was just two things. That was home floor. That was our factory floor. But this is a saying that actually Ingvar himself said once. You know, you do so many things here in Älmhult, but when I go to my stores, I don't see them happen. And if you don't make them happen within the stores, they have never happened. Then it's just a waste of resources. And of course, that's true. There's so many things done and designed in a poor way for the retail environment also, so people can't actually see them. And the thing that people like about us, that we're rich in content, we have like 10,000 products in our stores, it's also the hardest thing to design for, to make things visible within 10,000 products. One of the things we have learned, it's better to do it in collections than doing one-by-one items when it comes to news, so there's going to be more collections for the future. But another thing that we have learned is how to make an impact through storytelling. Everybody's doing it, but it's not very hard. It's just being transparent about what we do. So this transparency that I talked about before, making stories, from the beginning, sharing what we do from the beginning. We also document everything we do from the beginning nowadays, to carry the stories out all the way through, so you actually understand both the efforts and what it's made for. That makes each and every product stand out in a better way. So here you see something, and it's actually on stage too. Maybe not the typical IKEA product. I would say if I would have been like Captain Kirk, I would have said to boldly go where no one's gone before. But a lot of people has been there doing bikes. But we wanted to do a bike which is not just a bike, but a transport system. Because IKEA has always been really good at logistics. So could we help people with their personal logistics by making a really smart bike and making a bike system? So if you look upon this one, you can see that there's two very specific items there and there. It's a click-on interface for a lot of accessories, making it simple to make this into something really big and sturdy if you want to transport big things home from IKEA, or your kids, for instance, or just turning out a small basket, putting it on top of it. And it's kind of state-of-the-art also, because it's aluminium, of course, lightweight, and there's no chain to it. We've done it with a Gates belt. I'm a biker myself, so I know a lot about this. I'm really keen on a road biker. So this is actually done in carbon fiber. For ordinary people, what's good about that is that you don't get dirty. For us, who cycle a lot, what's good about it is that you don't have to maintain it, because it's going on forever and forever, without any grease, without anything. Then, we know that most people, we could have done an electrical bike. I guess we will do an electrical bike too, which is smarter. But bikes are so good, it's good for health also, so why do them electrical? But some guys are more fit than others, I would say. So you want to make it easy to bike along also. So that's why we have put automatic gears on this. So you always had the right kind of gearing, no matter if you're going upwards or downwards. It's automatic. At the price level, which is pretty amazing, I would say that it's half the price of what you find on the market. This is going to be for $399 for family members when it's introduced. But that was me telling a story, boring you to death. What we have learned is actually that it's even better when others tell stories for us, the ones who's made it. So here's a story from out of IKEA that I talked about before, and what that does to you as a person and to your heart when you listen to it, at least to me.
This collection is about craft, very craft-oriented, and material. It's a project between the craftsman and the designer. It's lots of energy, and when I come back and look at the object, the things I did, I think it represents love for me.
I like it a lot. You know what? Stories like this, we actually give to you people every day from a source. This is our own site from IKEA in Älmhult, from the Product Development Center or the Democratic Design Center. We call it IKEA.today. Every day we post our work there. Things that are ongoing, things that are not introduced yet, travels, road trips, everything, totally transparent. Just to show our efforts to create a better everyday life. Carry the stories out to people. So, just to sum it up then, we use design to democratize great ideas. That's what we want to do. Because everybody has the right to great ideas. Great ideas shouldn't be for the few, it should be for everybody. And great ideas are the things that make things better. So, it's time to make things better. Thanks a lot.